There's been a lot of fuss about the new Jaguar car teaser adverts, and a lot more fuss about the unveiling of the prototypes of their new, soon-to-be launched cars. I was actually only really prompted to look at them when a client emailed to ask me to make sure, I think half jokingly, that none of his investments held any Jaguar Land Rover shares. They didn't, as both of these wonderful British brands are owned by the Indian company Tata, which you may know from all the fuss over British Steel, which it also owns, and British Steel pensions a couple of years ago. That's a whole other financial services story, and you could argue much more related to the business of financial advice than the rest of my chat today. Many steel workers were persuaded to transfer or cash in their pensions when the steel plants were closed down, and were then, some might say, persuaded to claim compensation for doing so. Many advisor firms, some quite rightly, some quite wrongly, were put out of business as a result when, as so often happens, stable doors were closed when the horse was actually long gone. Anyway, back to Jaguar, and I think most people, when they think of the image of the Jag in recent years, would agree with the great description I recently heard, that it has the whiff of the golf club about it. If you're a little older, Arthur Daly, a little dodgy maybe, might come to mind with the Jag as the poor man's Rolls Royce. Now, the Jaguar brand is being relaunched as both all-electric in power and pretty futuristic in looks. Another great description of the new look was that it's the love child of Lady Penelope's car from Thunderbirds and the Batmobile. Now, I really am too young to remember the launch of the E-Type Jaguar in the 1960s, but I guess that was just as revolutionary and that there was just as much fuss then as there seems to be now. The point is that it's a brand, a name which has some history and value, and the fact that it's being used to do new things is, I think, good. So often in our business, companies spend huge fortunes buying up another company with a great name and a bit of heritage, and then ditch it rather than reinvent it. Why change Standard Life to Aberdeen? The Pru is now M&G. Zurich, back in my day, took over Allied Dunbar and Eagle Star. Both have now gone. And the list goes on. Now, I like to think in the past 15 years or so, I've built a bit of a mini brand with my own little firm, Philip James Financial Services. James is my middle name, as many of you know, and I did deliberately not name it or include Philip Hanley in the title, as I had some sort of vision even then of the whole thing perhaps outlasting me, and so not being quite so personal. Now, we've spent some time in the last year or so working out how that might happen, from thinking after the Zoom revolution, after COVID, that we could go online and look after loads and loads of new clients. We've realized actually that's not what most clients, or not most of our clients anyway, want. Most are generally not the non-dom super yacht type or modern wholly onliners. All the feedback we have, and we have a lot of it, is that most like seeing us at least once in a while. They like the fact that we're independent and that we try to keep things simple so that they can understand what they're getting. So when we come back in the new year, we'll have a new look. We'll be Philip James Independent Financial Advice. So I hope we can do what we say on the tin. And I'm not sure that anyone knows exactly what a financial service or a financial services company is anyway. Now, due to retirements and leavings, there are and will be a few less of us. But those that are here will be focused on looking after less of you better. And there may well be one or two more new younger faces to join Kendra, who many of you will now know as the next generation of advisors. So, no babies will go out with the bathwater, and my plan is to mix a lot of the metaphorical new Jag with the best of the old, and as I'm now old, or a bit of the old, to be able to continue to drive my new electric Jag as long as I can. Oh dear, enough metaphors. Maybe we all need a break. So happy Christmas, and see you excitedly in 2025.